So we just completed here in Austin the local Austin 350 movement, which was part of the largest human petition and day of global action for climate change and for solutions. We're 6 weeks out from the Copenhagen climate agreement, and we're sending a message to all the world leaders and to our local legislators that we want fair and equitable targets for reduced carbon emissions in the atmosphere, and we want that target to be 350 parts per million.
Yeah, the 350 number was determined by a report done by NASA, headed by James Hansen, who's kind of the forefront of climatology. They determined that 350 parts per million of CO2 in the atmosphere is the maximum level that the Earth can really sustain over a long period of time. And we're at about 390 parts per million and rising about 2 parts per million a year. So we got a lot of work to do. It's going to be very difficult. It's going to probably cost a lot. There's no one-for-one.
No silver bullets.
There's no silver bullets. There's no one-for-one exchange on what fossil fuels has been able to get us to so far. So we have a lot of work to do, and it's going to be very difficult. But we hope that in the Copenhagen climate agreement, international climate agreement, that headway will be made to get us back to a sustainable level of carbon in the atmosphere.
And here in Texas, we have a huge part to play, because if Texas were a country, we would be the 8th worst polluting country of CO2 emissions in the world. So here in Texas, as Texans, we need to be diligent, we need to be informed, and we need to demand action. A shift to alternative energy sources, wind, we also have a great opportunity for that here in Texas, solar, but really it's going to, the main point with 350 is to get that number targeted in the climate change agreement in Copenhagen. And then, we're going to all have to stay diligent on coming up with creative solutions and work together, because it's not going to be, like we said, one silver bullet. There's going to have to be a lot of different solutions involved. So that's the challenge for everyone.
Right. The way, it goes beyond just, alternative ways to generate electricity. It's also alternative ways to be a mobile human being, whether that's walking or taking a bike, and that translates into the way that we've developed as a society. We've really developed around the automobile, developing in a more compact way, and really kind of having a paradigm shift in terms of the way we've organized ourselves as a society. We really need to take this seriously, because it's a daunting task, and it's very serious.
So do you feel that alternative energies will be able to compete with the oil, the power of oil, and the energy that's in oil? Is there really an ability for alternative energies to substitute for the massive amounts of energy that oil produces?
I think so. I think part of the problem is that we don't pay a true market price for petroleum. It's subsidized because we don't pay for all the externalized costs, i.e. pollution, for example. And so if we were paying market price for oil, what it should really cost, I think that you would already see a huge push towards alternative energies, because oil would be expensive. The fact is, oil is going to continue to be expensive. It's a finite resource. It's non-renewable. There's only so much of it on this planet. At some point, we're going to run out, and if we don't, want to believe that, then we're going to have a rude awakening sometime down the line. We think that if we plan ahead and make big steps in the direction of getting ourselves off of fossil fuels, it's going to be an easier transition unless we wait till we're forced to.
So in the meantime, we just really need to, in opportunities, where there are opportunities, such as in Texas, where we can utilize wind and where we can utilize solar and we can localize power sources, that we really move in very strong directions to get there.
So do you see any kind of realistic change from the Obama administration as to whether or not they're going to start investing in alternative energy sources?
Well,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Actually, October 5th, President Obama issued an executive order. It's an amazing document. I encourage everyone to go to read it. It's the most powerful statement I've seen that's come out of Congress or the executive office ever for moving towards alternatives. And he's actually set targets for the federal government to meet. They're one of the largest consumers of energy, and they can make a huge impact. So they've set targets for starting at 2010, 2015, 2020 to actually percentage reductions in terms of fuel emissions for their vehicle fleet, and net zero buildings and green building technologies for the future development of federal spaces. So there's a great outline, and it's a great start.
I think another part of it is it's not all on the Obama administration and on our government. You know, individuals have to take responsibility.
Corporations pollute the most.
Corporations, but individuals as well. I mean, corporations are a collection of individuals, and you know, I know that my wife and I have pledged to each other and to the 350 movement that, you know, we will reduce, you know, and we will be more vigilant and more conscious as we go forward of you know, how we consume the resources on our planet, and you know, what kind of pollution we generate. And so we also not only hope to encourage the world leaders, but we hope to encourage every individual out there to
friends and family,
to take responsibility for, you know, what they do as well, because that's a huge part of it.
So get out there, visit 350.org. It's a great website. There's a lot of solutions and suggestions, and talk to people, collaborate, communicate, and let's get to 350. Let's make this happen.